Alright. Cool. That was a little aggravating. A little bit late today. So... today... Hmm? Oh, that's cool. So my key bindings aren't working. That's neat. Okay, so Entity Component Systems. Now I have been working a little bit off screen. Not too terribly much, just a little bit. I'm trying to figure out a few things. I'm gonna try and figure out exactly what is going on with this, because I'm not happy about it. What happened to my hotkeys? Done. Why you no work? Oh, I need to enable it. Okay. Got disabled. That's cool. Alright, so I've done a little bit of off-camera work. Not very much. Mostly just to double check and make sure that everything was working properly. And that white stream is not... That's cool. Whatever. All white. Dope. So, the main features that we want to maintain is that components are data, right? And then from there it is all contiguous, right? And we want to maintain contiguous memory for the sake of speed, so you can handle more things. Now I want to eventually also do compute shaders, right? But I'm not entirely sure how well that's going to work, because that involves a lot of GPU to CPU interface, and this is slow, right? Passing data between the CPU and the GPU is very, very costly. There are ways of doing it asynchronously, but it can be very difficult to pull off. And not only that, but you can't exactly, what is it? You can't really, like, batch it, right? You can't send something to the GPU and then immediately have access it on the CPU to update or change anything. So what issues we're going to run into, right? What we're going to run into is the whole contiguous memory thing. I'm going to go into my Streamlabs and try and figure out what's going on here. If I disable and then re-enable. Hopefully that'll work better. No, it's still just all white. Okay, that figured. Okay, all that's good. Also, I think I have a few new followers. Deluxe Tux may have followed before, like after I ended my stream or during my stream. So I could give a little shout out to them. So back to what we were doing, compute shaders. So what I want to have is like all the positions, right, are all in one big thing, right? We have all of them in one thing, and then like all the velocities are in here, right? And then this continues on, right? So why is this a problem, right? Because say you have a render object and a render system and a physics system, right? The thing is that the render system takes as input your position and like scale, and physics takes in the position and velocity, say, and like acceleration. But this is a bit of a problem, right? Because what we end up having is that not everything with position needs to render, or needs to have physics, and everything with position needs to be rendered, right? Like event boxes would have a position and a scale, possibly, or at least like a position and a size or something, and it doesn't need to be rendered, it's invisible. So you have, you know, different things inside your position, right? You'd have like, this has something, this has physics, these two things have physics, this has physics, right? This has physics, and then like this has render, this is render, this is render, this is render, you know, this has render, this is render, this is render, right? Things like that, where you have this disjointedness. And you don't want to have to sweep through all of these to build a contiguous array. I guess that wouldn't be... that might not be too terrible, right? Because it might not be too bad to, say, pick out everything and build an internal contiguous array of everything that uses the renderer physics, and then do all the things that are dependent on it. Because the math isn't super bad, right? And it might not be terrible in compute shaders either. for the most part, I think a lot of things can be done with compute shaders, like physics and things like that. Because what you would end up doing is building, like for physics, you'd have things like position and velocity stored on, you know, you'd have things like position and velocity and acceleration, maybe even scale. Right, you have scale, you'd have things like health. Yeah, I get it. Right, you'd have health. Right, you'd have like these things on GPU. You'd have like these things on CPU, something like that. So it wouldn't be too terribly bad. So I think having the, let's see, so I think having the, yeah, I think having the actual systems maintaining an internal like building an internal system, right? So another thing to keep in mind, sorry, let's go back to the whiteboard. Right, what you'd have is, so another problem that we have is how do we even store the entities themselves, right? Because we'd have like your entity. Well, actually, I have it pretty nicely laid out in Visual Studio. Let's go back there. Right, down here, you see how we have like your entities, and then they have like position, velocity, scale, or whatever it is, right? Just some components, and it's kind of like a matrix, and all these individual columns are all contiguous memory. The entity doesn't necessarily need to be contiguous memory. Right, all this doesn't necessarily need to be contiguous, but all these do. All of these need to be contiguous memory. So, you would be iterating through, because you can jump around memory and iterate through pretty quickly. Even if you don't have a lot of different stuff, even if it's really disjointed, you can consolidate it relatively quickly. Because if all you're doing is iterating through stuff, there's not much of a hit to performance, right? You don't have to worry too much about cache misses. I feel like having it doing a bunch of math and calculations, that's when you have to worry about cache misses. I mean, just strictly iterating through will hurt performance if you don't have things conveniently cached in, but it's not that big of a deal, I feel like. So I feel like that's just a little bit over engineered. A big thing about making a general purpose engine is that you will be sacrificing a lot of different things. If you make a highly specialized engine, then you can optimize it for the game that you are making. Whereas a general purpose engine, you lose a lot of that. And making a very large game, it's very difficult to maintain it if it is not a general purpose engine. So I will be doing a general purpose engine for the most part. Just for like the sake of keeping my own sanity, right? So yeah, a big part is going to be that, and oh, I've eaten everything. That's fine. That's fine. So the entity is just going to be type deft. But can I just type def it? Or should I actually make it a class? Because I feel like if I make it a class, then it'll be a lot easier, because if it's a list of integers, then yeah. Okay, let's get rid of this type def and actually make it a class. Because I'm going to need a constructor. And this will be entity. I might have to make system and component be friends. How do I do that again? C++ friends. Friend class name. And friend class F. Okay, so you just do friend and then specify whatever it is in public. Okay. So in public it could be friend class component and then friend class system. Both of those need to be friends. System probably needs to component probably needs to have a friend class system. So yeah, system is at the highest level. It has the most control over the rest of everything. And component has the second most control over everything, and then entity doesn't have any control. So component, I might want to template it because it'll be a vector of different types. So you create new components and then they would do things. So this one will be how do you declare templates again? plus template classes. Do template factions, template type name, tmax, return. Bruh, stop it. Stop doing stuff. Template class T. Class, okay. So, template type name. T class component. Template type name T class component. This should be void, I feel like, or they should be. Oh, what? Can you just do that? No, I have to specify too few arguments. Ooh, that's a little bit of a problem, isn't it? Can I say auto here? Okay. Make template class A friend. Okay. Template type group. It also needs to be templated. Oh, that's a problem. But I need a component to be able to add things. If I want the list, if I don't want it to be public. Because if I don't want that list to be... I don't want the list to be public. Because I could make component have the least control and have everything be but I want it to be and then I'll also make creating a list of components difficult as well, because they would all have to be templated. So that requires the system to be a friend class, because the system is going to have to access the internal list. I mean, I could just make everything public and just not care. But I think that's bad programming. Oh hey, I have a viewer. If you're here, say hi. Tim, what's going on? I hope you had a good New Year's. I'm also doing this poorly. I don't have my phone out with my stuff on it. I guess I could do that real quick. It's telling me that I'm mobile dashboard and all that. Stream manager. I have 1 viewer and 11 followers. I don't care about the update right now. Yeah. Okay. I can do that for now. Just add markers as I go for anything that comes up. So, yeah, these are all class templates. What was I doing again? Got distracted. Yeah, the component needs to be of a, well, how much do I want to, it's really frustrating. So friend class system needs to have access to entity, I think. But doesn't, I think system only needs to have access to I think I'll just go forward and then just, instead of thinking so far ahead, I think I'll just go for it. std vector of type t, and then this will be dat data, or vowels, maybe values. Then again, I'll just delete that for now and see how everything works out. Because I want to be able to add in things, because I could make entity, right? Because I want to have, oh, wait a minute, that's not, that's not gonna work. Alright, because I don't necessarily want, yeah, because I want something along the lines of, say, alright, because what I want is something like, entity test equals to t, right? Equals entity, right? And then I'll have test dot add components component position, and then I can do test dot add component, or yeah, velocity. I can do test dot add system physics, right? I think I want to do something along these lines. And then if that's the case, I could do... What's going on? Oi. Oh, you can't, you gotta be kidding me, dude. Don't be doing this to me. Could do something like that. I can't. My trackpad died. Cool. Good thing I have a touchscreen, I guess, because I can't do like anything. Yeah, my trackpad is completely unresponsive right now, and I have no idea why. That's cool. My trackpad just died, which is why I have I use an external mouse. My trackpad likes to do this shit, which is great, and I think if I do... Oh, well, at least that still works. Fine. Now I have to get my grubby fingers all over my screen. Jesus Christ, dude. Breathe, it's fine. It's fine. This is why I needed a new laptop. And I can't really do all this, well, I mean I can do this on the desktop, but I already have everything on here. I just need to upload it to GitHub and it'll be fine. That's still something I need to do. Alright. This is really bad, dude. I'll just do keyboards, I guess. Sorry, not H. Alright, so I could have all of these, but I don't necessarily want to have to add in a bunch of different things, though, right? Because if I wanted to add in if I wanted to do this, that wouldn't work, right? Right, because I could do component add, and then I could do test, and then like component position. Right, I might have to do something like this. And then velocity, right? And then system add. What? Why did it do that? I didn't tell it to do that. What's going on here? Okay, I don't know what's going on there. Oi. Oi. Okay. I'll probably do test and then system physics, right? Might have to do something like that. I don't want to have to restart my PC again. That'd be really irritating. Yeah, my mouse is still, my trackpad is still done. Done for. Cool. Alright, fine, I guess. That's cool. Because I can't make... I don't think I want template. Because this is going to be a... Because the component class is effectively going to be... Right, because then what I could do is say something along the lines of std vector type double. This is going to be pause, right? This way I don't need a component, in which case I can say friend class component and then friend class system. Right, and then here I can do friend class system. Oh, well, I mean, I guess that's kind of nice. Yeah, I'll do that. Right, because I'll need to have an entity, and I'll need to have to be able to access it, and all this other stuff. I think it'll just be nice to be able to do all that. So I could do like another vector double. I'll just run with it, I think. God, I'm so used to using my trackpad. It's frustrating. So add will have an entity E. Oh boy, and then it'll have to be TD. Can you do an anonymous typing in a class? I don't think you can. Because then the other option is to have like a pointer to it. How am I going to do this? The only other way of doing it could have a map. Oh, but the map needs to be statically typed. So that won't work either. And if I template the component type, then I can't make a bunch of components either. Okay. So if you have I might be able to template the what? How am I going to template it though? That's going to be so strange because the only other option is I make a bunch of different add functions for every different possible type of whatever it is. And that's kind of a problem. Because I need to be able to specify which component is being added. Okay, this is a bit of a problem. The typing is kind of screwing everything up. Oh, hey, my mouse is back. That's neat, I guess. So, do I really need to do a template? Functions? C++? Do I want to do that? Is this even a thing that I can do? Yeah, you can do that. So it's possible to have a templated function, but I also don't necessarily want to do that, is the problem. So, and I also can't use a map. It would be really nice if I could do something along the lines of a linked list, because I think you can do different typings with a linked list, or something along those lines, where you can just add in a bunch of different stuff in a linked list. Unless I like made my own container object. That was able to handle like different. How would I even be able to do that? Like it's like unless I had like a raw point, but the raw pointers won't work because that's typeset. Unless I have like an iterator. It's a map of iterators that just returns a certain index into the linked list, but that seems like the whole purpose of using vectors and all this other stuff is kind of null and void at that point. Alright. Any type of vector as argument. Okay. Templatize B. The fill function. But I don't want to templatize the fill function. But I don't want to templatize the fill function. I don't want to templatize it. Because I can't templatize it. I don't want to templatize it. Because that complicates things. I don't want it to be any more complex than it bloody needs to be. Not only that, but I also need a pointer to it. Oh, and my mouse is dead again. What is going on here, dude? Like, what is happening? Oh, is it literally my belly? What's happening? You know, every time I try and do this crap, every single time, dude, I run into something that I would not expect to have to run into. So the only other option is that I have a bunch of different overloaded versions. Because I can overload it. I can declare a bunch of different add functions. I can declare a bunch of them and implement a bunch of different copies of it. Which is really aggravating, because that is a lot of copied, pasted code, and I don't like it. The whole point of it is to make my life easier later. When I have to add a bunch of crap later on. Okay. So, how the hell am I supposed to do this? Because I can't. I have to. Oh boy. You know, just to get everything working properly, I'm just going to do that. And I'm going to have the I'm going to have a pointer to it, I think. And then an entity pointer, I'm thinking. Because I'm going to need to be able to... What is going on with my mouse, dog? What is happening? God damn, dude. This one is going to be an entity E, and then yeah, I still have one viewer. Say hi in chat if you can. If you're the person that I blocked, then, you know, well, don't try and advertise stuff. And then this is void fn ptr. Sys. Yes, I did type def. I did type def it. I did type def void function pointer for the express purpose of being able to do that. I wonder if there's a way to have templated type defs. Can you do that in C++? Probably. C++ templated type def. Template type def. Okay, so I could do using vector equals matrix and full. Okay, I could do that. Yeah. Interesting. So you can have some pretty funky stuff going on. Might have to use a lot of these kinds of answers. Very C++-y. Okay, which means add. How would I even do that? Add component. But it's also... Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Because the only other option is to say something like t-test equals entity, and then it would be test dot add component, and then it would be component position. I mean, that's not terrible. And then I can do test add system physics. I could do something like that. And then I can even do chaining, right? Which is literally just deleting all that. Which I'm not entirely opposed to. If I were to do this, you know, I'm actually okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Which means that the entity will have the highest level of stuff, in which case that doesn't need to exist, in which case this doesn't need to exist. And because it's templated, I can do some clever stuff in it, right? Right, so public entity, public template class. I'll do T add, and then oh. Wait. That is not a template. Okay. Oh, but I can define them specifically. Okay. Okay, so that got rid of that, which means that I need to have oh bloody hell. Still doesn't help me. I feel like I'm still gonna have to have a bunch of different overloads for it. Am I gonna get around this? Because I feel like every single time I add a new component type, like a fundamentally different type of component, whether it's an integer or a double or a string or my own vector class or whatever it is, I have to go in and add in a whole new thing. Oh, this also needs to be like void add. Wait, what happens if I do still mad? Okay, that's fine. So class T component, because I feel like it's gonna have to okay, that's still going. That's my stream running. Still got one viewer. That might just be me. This Wednesday night, man. Alright. Add. Still no one's talking this today. Okay, so I'll template it. Because I also need to have an overload. Right, I need to have multiple versions of it. I feel like. And instead of void, this should be entity and add, and then it'll, at the very end, it'll return this. Right. So yeah. Right. Yeah. I think so. So it is an assignment, I feel like. Right. So in order to add if type of T, I mean I could do like a switch statement maybe. If type of T equals component, then do a thing. Oh. Ah. Because I think if type of T is not equal type of component, return this. Is this proper syntax? How do I get the type of something? C++ type of. Person. Type ID T dot name. Person dot name. And compound time because of the different pointer. Polymorphic. Okay, type ID. But what about I don't understand. Okay. C++ language has no decal type. Again, C++ has no type of keyword. Type ID returns the type identification information at runtime. It basically returns a type info object which is equally comparable to other type info objects. Note that the only defined property of the return type because everything is so strictly typed. If so, that's not going to compile. C++ check if a template type is a certain type. Okay, let's see here. is same t animal value. Usually that's a totally unworkable design, though, and you really want to specialize. Ledger with explicit non-deduced arguments. It's not unheard of, but often there are better approaches. So if I do that, and then I say something like components, then this should be fine. That is not a template. Okay, so class T and then here be templates. That's not how you spell template. That's how you spell template. Entity. Okay. T add. And actually, I don't even need to implement this here, because this is just the header file. Just do that. Okay, so that's fine. And then that's perfectly okay anyway, because then I can do templates entity add system. Right, because I can do that. That makes my life a lot easier. A little bit of syntactic sugar. Which also kind of means, well, I mean, I guess that's fine. I could also have like a list, like a global list of things, like a systems, add component systems dot system. I can have, because all these have to be static anyway. Alright. And then I'll also have like a private static physics. Oh, I mean, this will be a static void physics. Because then it'll add in a bunch of different stuff, right? So it could be oh, and my shit just died again. That's really irritating. I don't know why it does that. I don't know why my trackpad keeps on disconnecting like that. It's really irritating. Let's see here. So, because having an entity.add, you're adding a component to the entity, which is fine. That's cool. I'm okay with that. Same thing with the systems, because then you can have a system physics, a component position. And this is telling you what is being added. And then that also just makes sure that everything is working as intended. Right. and then you can just have entity add, template entity add, and then in here I'm actually just going to have return this. Because that means I don't even have to worry about implementing it at all, because I can just implement these specific ones in the C++ thing, because both the component and the system is going to have to work differently. I'm not entirely sure if, because it might have to do something along the lines of, you know, have something along the lines of, say, std vector double CMP. And then here, no instance of function template matches specific type. Okay.